Alice Kao just wanted a place to climb where she felt like she belonged. That idea became Sender one of the premier climbing gyms in Southern California. We talk about this and more here on The Drink of Choice.
So welcome to another episode of Drink of Choice. Today we have a special guest, Alice Kao from Sender One Climbing. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you
Welcome,
for having
Alice.
me. Thank you.
So today your drink of choice is matcha,
Latte
with oat milk.
with oat
Matcha
milk.
latte with
Yeah.
oat milk.
And my drink of choice was also matcha,
Matcha creatine.
but with creatine.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a new one. I got to try it.
Yeah, it actually helps because like the matcha is a little like bitter,
Uh-huh.
and then I think creatine has a slight taste, and it kind of blends well together. So, but
I sort of beg to differ.
Really? Yeah.
It's an acquired taste.
yeah. So why did you choose matcha latte? Is that something that you drink?
You know, it's funny because now matcha is like super popular, right, in America, but I've been drinking this a long time, like before it was popular. I don't know how long has it been popular in America. 10
Probably
years?
the last couple of years though, like right?
Well, I just got back last year from
Yeah.
Asia. I mean, in Asia, we drink it every day
I know,
like
that's
water.
what I'm saying. So I was like, it wasn't like
it's
a
been
thing.
popular
yeah.
for what?
Probably
Centuries?
Yeah.
1,500 years? Something like
But
that?
I'd say that I drink just a lot of matcha
Mm.
without the milk. And then if I want like a latte drink with the milk, then I add a little bit. And I'm trying to cut back on the dairy, so the oat milk is nice.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
no particular reason.
So not coffee. You choose matcha always.
I drink
over?
coffee, but I drink it in the morning. So in the middle of the day, no coffee. Yeah.
Well, matcha also has caffeine, right?
Yeah, it's
Not
pretty
as
strong.
much. Is
Oh,
it?
really?
Maybe I just don't taste it anymore.
It doesn't affect you.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I can only have, so I drink, I'm kind of like you. I drink coffee in the morning and coffee with oat milk. So I'm not trying to stay away from dairy as well. And then I drink decaf in the afternoon. And I stay away from matcha because of the caffeine. I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine, and I'll be up all night tossing and turning.
It's
Well,
okay. It's still early.
Yeah. It's still very early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
yeah.
Thank you. And I got to find this place. This tastes really good. Where is it?
So this place is right below in Century City. It's actually run by this Korean guy who makes actually very fire sandwiches as well, which I just ate.
Nice. I have
Yeah.
to check it out.
Yeah, it's right below there. So you are the co-founder and CEO of Sender One Climbing. How did you get into climbing? Is that something that you did all the time, or?
Yeah, so I'll start there. So I went to UCLA, graduated '01, and I had a really serious boyfriend in college. And when it didn't work out, we broke up when I was like 25, 26, I think at the time. I was devastated. Like I didn't get out of bed for a month. I actually had moved to Hong Kong, and from there I moved to London in like the middle of 2007. And in the wintertime, I got there in the wintertime and it was super cold outside. So a lot of my friends were like, you know what? You need to get out of this funk. Like we need to get you to do something active. And they took me to a climbing gym and it changed my life. So I got into climbing out of this very, very sad thing that turned into a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you originally an athlete? Did you play a lot of other sports or do physical activities?
Oh my gosh. That's like a whole other story. So I'm extremely nearsighted. Actually, I'm legally blind because this year, this is like kind of Asian, but my contacts are free now. Did you know that? When your prescription is so high, they send you free contacts.
Oh, no, I didn't
So
know that.
if it fell out right now, like I would definitely die in a zombie apocalypse because I can't see when I wake up. So I'm very nearsighted. And when I was young, I had glasses, like very thick. And I have flat feet. And now, you can wear like arched shoes. But when I was younger, I didn't do any sports. So I had this story that it's really hard to identify as an athlete. And I never saw myself as an athlete until I discovered climbing in my mid-20s. Yeah.
Mid-20s.
Yeah.
So actually climbing, one of the artists that I work with really loves climbing, and it's really a full body sport. It's
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of strength and actually some agility too, and like flexibility. And yeah, so it's just actually like an incredible sport.
So the thing that really stood out to me that I liked about climbing, it sounds very simple, but the wall isn't moving, right? So when you're climbing, like when you went to the gym the other day, like everybody is moving, but the wall is there.
Right.
So for me, it felt very safe because I have a hard time like hitting balls or a racket and a ball or just like something that's like moving and I'm moving. I have bad hand-eye coordination. So I felt like for climbing, it was very easy for me to get into it. Yeah.
I'm sure the first time it was pretty difficult, right?
Oh my God, it was crazy.
Yeah,
Especially,
but you're still drawn to it. You said, "Oh, this is it for me."
This is the thing when something terrible happens to you in your life, right? Like when you're heartbroken or going through something traumatic, you have just, I think this is like, I've heard this is pretty common. You are more, you are more, or what do you call it? You're more open to try new things that you didn't want to try before. So it was just a good time in my life, I guess, to try new things.
So you were in London when you first started, and then when did you come back to the U.S. and to start this?
I came back to the U.S. in 2008 during the recession. I remember the day, I had an internship at Lehman Brothers in college, and I remember the day that, do you guys remember this? Like the day that it was on the paper that I went under. Anyways, so I came back in 2008, and I was climbing at like a local climbing gym here in Santa Monica. And I just thought, oh my God, this place is super dark and dingy. And it wasn't actually the gym. It was the people that were climbing there. And being Asian, you can probably relate to this, but I went to the gym and I just saw these guys like with their shirts off and tattoos and like really strong and like the climbers that you see on TV, you know, in magazines. And it just, I couldn't relate to that. Anyways, but I was climbing at the gym and I met my husband, like a different story. And then at the gym, actually, we met another friend who, through mutual connections, we met another friend. And he had actually, Center One wasn't originally my idea. I came onto his idea. But he told us that he wanted to open a climbing gym. So we joined him and we became like co-founders of the business. But the other thing is when we started, I had no idea it was going to turn into this thing that it is today. I actually thought it was going to be a side gig. Because my husband, he was working in the downtown LA law firm. He's an attorney, litigation. And I was selling toys, working for toy companies, doing international sales. And I had heard that a lot of professionals own Subways or coffee shops, like boba shops, you know, on the weekends. So I thought on the weekend, I want to own a climbing gym.
Wow.
So it was going to be my side gig. Yeah.
That's how a lot of entrepreneurs start out, as side gigs, side hustles. So that's how my restaurant group started out.
Really?
It was just, me and a couple of friends, we didn't have any good Mexican food in Korea at the time. So I said, okay, let's open one up. And then it blew up, and now we're in 4 countries. So
like people seem to think they're like, "What was the plan? You must have had
there was no plan."
I was like, "No, you just try to do some things, and it turned into something, and then you make decisions along the way."
I just want to make a little extra money to go out.
Yeah. I just wanted to have a place to climb on the weekends where I felt like I belonged there, and there wasn't some dude like staring me down like I wasn't good enough.
So the atmosphere here in the United States was different from that of London?
Yes. So the climbing gyms in Europe were always a little bit more advanced, like culturally. There were a lot more diverse, a lot more women in the sport. And it was just at the time in the U.S., it wasn't like that. And now it's actually very diverse. Like climbing, like at least the audience for climbers, climbing gyms are more diverse.
Yeah, because it's interesting that you say you started out with Lehman. Actually, my wife was the last class of Lehman Brothers in New York, and then that all happened.
And bye-bye.
But I think the fact that you went to Lehman Brothers and the banking, did you kind of have that kind of career path of, hey, I'm going to become a banker and I'm going to be successful and and that kind of decisions, and because that was kind of the course that a lot of Asians took, right? It's like, hey, you do well in school, you go to investment banking or consulting or become a lawyer. And I'm just wondering how your journey was up to that point.
Look, when I graduated from school, I was like single-mindedly focused on finding a job that I could make money. And investment banking seemed like a really good job. So I did banking for 2 years. And then I hated it. It was just like not me. And I went into the toy industry and sell toys. So I had a 12-year career selling toys in various different toy companies.
At Mattel, right?
Started at Mattel. I worked for a company called MGA, who made the Bratz dolls. You guys familiar with that? And then eventually bought Little Tykes. So I did that for 12 years. But I did it because I wanted to make my Asian parents proud. Or in my case, my grandma, because my parents didn't raise me. And it seemed like the right thing to do. And actually, but my mom has always been very supportive of what we do because she's an entrepreneur herself. I'd say my husband is probably the more like black sheep in his family because he went to Harvard, he was a lawyer, right? And so when I remember this, when we told his parents, we went home for Christmas and said, I'm not going to send this to them, by the way. They're not gonna watch this episode, but we sent them. We went home and we told them, hey, you know what? We want to, my husband wants to quit his job because we want to start this rock climbing gym business. They literally said, I can't believe you're going to waste away your Harvard education.
Oh.
And then when they saw him handing out shoes at the front desk and,
So he's a black sheep because he quit his job. I thought he was a black sheep because he became a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
That's true, right. But it's very scary, and it's like we put our house up for a bank loan in the early days.
Wow.
Like we took all the money we made from our jobs and put it into this business, and that people hadn't heard about it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you bootstrapped it yourselves.
The climbing gym industry it's totally different today than it was 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you bootstrapped everything yourself, you, your husband, and maybe a partner or two? You came
We
up
did
with the
that.
capital?
The three of us put it a bunch of the capital, and then we actually raised money for investors. And
For the first location?
For the first location. When I say investors, I mean my best friend from school.
Yeah.
Exactly.
His best friend and my mother and my sister-in-law, just people, our friends and family. So the first one, we raised $2.5 million of equity and $1 million of bank debt.
Oh, wow.
That's how we got started. And
It costs that much to open up the first location? I'm sorry, I haven't been to one of the centers yet, so I don't know the scale.
It's incredible. I mean, it's really big. I mean, the location is not small, right? And then where was the first location?
The first location is in Santa Ana, California. And it's just off of the freeway in a strip mall. And also, we got into it at a pretty good time because that was sort of I think it was 2011. And there was a lot of vacancies, and we begged the landlord. We're like, hey, you know what? Please lease us this building and let us cut a hole in your roof so we can raise a roof. And then they asked us for all these extra security deposits and all these extra guarantees, and we just signed our life away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How big is the space or the original space?
25,000 square feet.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why it costs that much capital. It's a big space.
Yeah, it was a big space. Yeah. So that's the thing. We didn't know how to either go big or go home.
Yeah.
And what was the reaction when you first opened? Was it popular right away, or did you have to build that momentum?
So, if I think back now, I think a lot of our success, people ask me entrepreneurship, and I believe it's half luck and half hard work. I do. I really think luck is a big element of it. And we got really lucky because we opened at the right time in the right place, sort of the right time of the industry. It was amazing. I actually remember, and I had I have somebody with a lot of self-doubt. And I remember I showed up at 6 a.m. in the morning that day for the grand opening, and I just was like, oh my God, is anybody going to come?
Yeah.
Are people going to show up? We spent all this money and all this research, and we asked the community, and it seemed like a good idea, but what if they don't show up? And we had 1,000 people show up on the grand opening the first day. Yeah.
That's
there was
amazing.
a line out the door,
Oh.
and I was crying.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. But it wasn't like rainbows and butterflies. It wasn't instantly successful, right? It was a really, really good opening. And then it was hard work. It was all the other things wow, are we going to sell enough memberships this month to make payroll? Or, I don't know, a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, being an entrepreneur is quite different than being a salaried person. I mean, you're on call 24/7. There's always an emergency going on every day. And I think for me, the hardest part, of course, finances are very difficult, but the hardest part is managing people, the HR.
Yeah.
Did you hire a lot of coaches and instructors at first, or did you do it yourself?
Let me tell you a story about that. So I'm very involved in several entrepreneur groups. One is EO. I've been in there for 14 years, and then I joined YPO 5 years ago. And it started because, I came from the toy industry and investment banking. So I was a terrible boss, let me tell you, when I started.
Yeah.
Because, and also in the beginning, you have to do everything, right? You do every job. So we were the gym managers of the first gym. And I just remember complaining to my friends. I'm like, you know what? These people just don't work hard enough. Why can't I pay them to work harder?
Yeah.
And I was complaining to a friend of mine, and my friend, another entrepreneur friend, and he says, you know what? Maybe you should look at yourself in the mirror because maybe the problem is you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty
So
blunt.
he sent me this referral to EO, this entrepreneur group, and I joined. And then from there, I met different coaches. I went to different workshops, read books. And then I realized eventually that, the problem was me because I didn't give them a reason to want to be here. And I think also remember, like, the people that work for us, they're passionate climbers, and they're passionate about the people, and it's really not about the money. I know the money is important, and we give people careers, but that isn't the first thing they care about. So that sort of led me down a path of figuring out our core values, our purpose, like how do we run a good company, how do we treat our employees well, how to be a better manager, how to communicate, like all those things that like nobody taught you in school. Yeah.
So when did you decide to scale this brand? How long was the first one open before you decided to scale to the second location and the third location?
Probably
And that's a
about
whole
two.
nother
That's a
big
whole other
step,
thing.
right?
Probably about like 2 or 3 years in, we decided that, hey, the industry is taking off. So we went back, and the first one did so well, like our investors were super happy. So like everybody put in additional money, and we opened the second one and took on a little bit more bank loans, and we opened the second one in LA, which is the one that you've been to, and that was 2017. Yeah, so 4 years later.
Are they all run and owned, operated by the original company?
Yeah.
No franchises, right?
Yeah. So that was the second one. And I think that was a rude awakening too. And that's the other thing is sometimes people think that, like, I've been doing a lot of these interviews and people ask me like, what was the plan? Like, how'd you do it? And why'd you do it? And I was like, I wish I had some magical answer. Like it was written down. And a lot of things, a lot of times you just kind of, I don't know, you kind of roll with it, right?
Yeah.
And like it comes up as you go. But
An opportunity.
yeah, an opportunity.
You never
But,
know when it comes up.
But the second one was definitely very, very challenging. After we opened that one, I actually split up with my business partner. It just kind of came out, like all the problems. It's like in a marriage, like the problems you don't deal with, it eventually rises to the surface. And the other thing I learned the second one was like there was no way that I can do this alone. Like just having the owners, we were definitely building a bigger company because at that point we had like about 100 employees. The first one had like 50, and then we went to 100. And I also think that when we decided to go to the second one, we didn't even know what the problems were until it opened, and we're like, oh my gosh, now we have to do these things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what were some of these big issues that you had to deal with from going from one location to 2 locations?
Well, the main thing is, and they teach this in management leadership books, right? Is when you are like a solo founder, you're doing everything. So I did payroll for 3 years, and I hired and trained everybody, interviewed every person that came through the company. But when you first start delegating stuff, you delegate the things that you're bad at. Have you heard this before? Like you delegate the things you don't want to do. So I was like, I freaking hate doing payroll. Let me delegate payroll to somebody, right? But as the company scales, you start delegating the things that at some point you must delegate the things that you are good at. And those are the hardest, because then you have the tendency to micromanage when you hire someone. You think that they're not doing it as fast or as good as you are, and you hold on to those things, and those are the things that hold you back. Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. And I went through the same sort of situation, the problems that you went through as well. When we were trying to scale, I thought I had to do everything. So I was traveling around from country to country, from location to location, and I'd walk into the kitchen, I'd walk into the bar, I'd see if there were spots on the dishes, I'd go through. I mean, it's like they're your babies, and so it's really difficult for you to let go.
Yeah.
But last year, finally, I did, and I feel so much less stressed out. And it's running better because you find the right people who focus on their job, which is much narrower than what you're trying to do as a founder, as an owner, and they do the job well, very well. Whereas if you're trying to do everything, you only have this much bandwidth, and you spend 5% here and 10% there and 7% here, it's not going to be enough. Right? So, yeah, I mean, I think that's where a lot of growing companies struggle. And then once you set up a structure and a system, and then from there you get bigger, and then you have to institutionalize things a little bit more. But yeah, people stop right there, and it's very difficult to get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of start delegating to other people? Like what kind of decisions did you have to make in order to say like, okay, I'm going to give this job to you?
Well, it helped that I had another child, and I was really busy, and I was like just not surviving. I don't know. I think well, it was more like a mental decision, right, that I had to make, which was, okay, am I going to scale this thing? Like at that point, I had to force myself to think, okay, where do I want this to go? and decide, okay, how badly do I want this? And am I willing to become the person that I need to be to run the business the way the business needs? Yeah.
So how many units do you have now? How many
So we have
outlets?
6, and we're about to start construction on the 7th,
Mm-hmm.
and we have about 250 employees.
Nice. So is the structure still the same? You have your own, the main company, and that owns all 6 or 7 outlets?
Yeah, in some form or fashion. We have like different investors in different locations,
Okay.
but it's still owned by like the parent company. But I have a much bigger team. In fact, I was just on the phone with my team because I have like the most expensive executive team I've had since the beginning. And I was like, you guys get to work. Yeah.
So are you the CEO?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And your husband is still involved as well?
Yeah. And we're both on the board.
Okay.
Yeah, we work in the business. Yeah.
All right, great.
So, sorry, how does your father-in-law, mother-in-law feel about the business?
I have no idea. They don't tell us, I think, because I don't think I don't know.
Until you buy them a new house, they're not going to say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how Asian parents are,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
You put the
Yeah.
bow on the house and say, this
Yeah.
is what the climbing gym got us, and
Yeah.
then they'll be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting that your husband was a lawyer, a litigator. So, I mean, and you were more in finance, business marketing. So
I was more like sales and marketing.
Sales and marketing.
Yeah.
So maybe that kind of was a good combination as a teamwork. Do you feel that there's something there where you working with your husband like in different skill sets?
I think the reason why we're a good team is because we think about things very differently. I'll give you this example. Maybe you can relate because you're a lawyer. When I ask him, like, he thinks about everything in probability. Like when you tell him a problem, he was like, the probability of this happening is like 10% and like 90. He literally spits that out to me.
Yeah. They'll never commit, lawyers.
Right.
There's always
And it's
1% out.
Right. It's like
there,
super
right?
frustrating. It's like what? But the way that I think about the world, and he doesn't like it, but he gets it. And this is why he thinks that I should be the CEO and I'm a better CEO of the company. Because when I see something that's like 10% rate of success, I think about how do I increase that to like 99%.
Yeah, it's
So
very different
I don't
thinking.
actually see why something doesn't work. I literally do not see it. I am so focused on like why this is going to be successful that I end up making it successful.
That's actually interesting because
Yeah.
lawyers are trained to see how it can all get fucked up.
Yeah.
And they assign probabilities based on, hey, what's likely to happen. And we're trained to think how things can go wrong. So I think that's the different mindset between like an entrepreneur and a lawyer and how they're trained and how they're viewing the world.
But sometimes that's why it's very complementary, I think. You know, you move forward as the entrepreneur. You sound like you have a very keen entrepreneur's mind now, right? You see the possibility in everything. And then you need somebody to sort of kind of pull you back. But then you also need somebody to pull them forward. And my wife was a CFO of my company. She was in finance for, 18 years here in the U.S. And it's the same sort of thing. I'm sort of like, oh, I see the vision. I see the opportunity. Let's go, go, go. And she'll pull me back because she's in finance and in budgeting and analysis and forecasting and that kind of stuff. But she'll say, well, 3 years down the line, where are we going to be? 5 years down the line, where are you going to be? This is where our cash flow is going to be. And I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah.
So that's a good team.
We've also put in a different, like we have a board now, actually. So we are managed by a board. My husband and I each have a board seat, but we have outside board members that are challenging our thinking and like forcing us to be strategic. Yeah.
How was that transition for you? Because that transition for me was, to be honest, was very difficult to eventually have a board, an outside board.
Yeah.
Because as a founder and an owner, you're the decision maker, right? You do what you think it needs to be done and you just do it. The next morning you wake up and say, well, I want to change it this way. And then you change it. So now you have to report to a board. How was that transition like?
I get this question a lot. And actually, I think this goes to my personality. So it doesn't bother me at all, actually. And I love it. And this is because I have a fundamental belief. It comes from like a lot of childhood trauma. But like I have this idea that like I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. And I think growing up, I wasn't the smartest kid in school. I struggled a lot with a lot of things. So my self-doubt comes from me thinking that I must not have the right answers and other people must have the right answers. And I'm not the one. And as I've gotten older and with more experience, I've learned that I actually do have good instincts and I have right answers, but it's like back here, right? So I love having a board because it's like a sounding board. So before I make any decision, I will call like 10 people and just ask, hey, I want to do this thing. What do you think about this? You know, and I kind of crowdsource information, and then I'll think about it, and then I'll decide which way to go. But once I decide, what I'm really good at is once I decide which direction I'm going, I'm really good at convincing other people to go in the same direction. Yeah. So having a board has been like life-changing for me because I'm constantly, I probably ask them for more than they're willing to give, but I'm just like constantly calling, hey, what do you think about this? You know, what do you think about this? Yeah. So I don't like making decisions alone. I was never one of the people.
You never
that,
thought
yeah.
it was there were situations where there are too many cooks in the kitchen?
No, I don't experience it that way. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So how many people are on your board? And I guess there must have been a transition, outside investment that kind of caused creating a bigger board, or?
Yeah, when we opened the second location, we brought on the board and like a lead investor. And we had, I don't know, at that point, like 60 investors. I mean, today I have like 200 some investors.
Whoa.
So that was the other thing is like we've raised a lot of money. And at some point I felt like a pressure I didn't want to be responsible for so many people without some guidelines and like help. Right? Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned you growing up. Where did you grow up, by the way?
Taiwan.
Taiwan?
Yeah.
That's where you were born, and you lived in Taiwan until when?
On and off till I was like 14.
And then you immigrated to the United States?
I came here. Have you guys heard of the concept or the term parachute kid?
Yeah.
I was a parachute kid. So my parents, like my mom wasn't here.
Yeah. So who did you grow up with then?
My grandma.
Your grandmother. Oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned that before. And she had already immigrated to the United
No.
States,
I lived
or you
with
came
her
together?
when I was in Taiwan. I was
I see.
at my
I
grandma's
see.
house, but I came to the U.S. like by myself, basically. Like my mom had a friend who lived down the street, and she was my legal guardian. But like for the most part, I was like, living by myself.
What was the impetus for that? At 14 years old, what made you decide, I'm going to go to the U.S.?
Oh, it wasn't my decision, but
okay.
it was like my mom just picked me up and dropped me here. It was a lot of things, you know. She had another family, like my brother. My brother actually, I'm very close to my mom now. I talked to her like this morning before I woke up, before I came here. But she was my stepdad and her had a business in the South Pacific in the Solomon Islands. Do you guys know where that is? It's like by Australia.
Okay.
And she had my brother, and you know he had cancer. They were going through some things with the business, so she just couldn't like take me to live with them. So, and she couldn't leave me at my grandma's house, so she had to send me somewhere for school. Yeah, it was just a extenuating, difficult circumstances. Yeah.
Did you appreciate that move at the time, or did you, were you not happy about the move? Because when you're 14 years old and uprooted and sent to a different country without your family.
I don't think I had a choice. People ask me that. It's like, why did you do like? That's just what I had to do to survive, and you make it work.
Well,
right?
you obviously made it work, right?
Yeah.
So you grew up here in Southern California?
I went to high school in Palos Verdes.
Oh, okay.
And then I went to UCLA. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
SoCal.
Yeah.
So did you do finance in college, or did you
International econ? But I didn't learn anything in college that like helped me with my job. You know, I don't know.
I think most people would say that unless you're an engineer or something,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
What was your major in college?
I was econ.
Econ?
Yeah, I chose econ because it had the least requirement.
Really?
Yeah. And I went to Brown where we don't have like really a
that's
major,
right.
so we can just and
Take any class you want, right?
Yeah, and econ only had 9 requirements to graduate. So I was like, get a degree. So I was like, that's the one.
I was chemical engineering for a year, and I realized I wasn't smart enough for that.
Yeah.
And then I was definitely not smart enough for that. So then I went to political science. So,
Yeah.
So what are your plans now? You're opening up a 7th outlet, and then you going to expand outside of California anytime soon?
Not right now, but we do have plans to open a couple more before the Olympics. So that was the other thing that happened to the sport, right? So when I got into it, it was like nobody heard of it. It was very underground, right? And then the last 10 years, and I think we contributed to part of the growth, but again, we weren't like the only one. It was like the industry was growing. But climbing got into the Olympics in 2020. It was in Tokyo, and then it was in the Olympics for Paris, and then now it's going to be in the Olympics for LA. And it's funny, people ask me, like, did you know that climbing was going to be in the Olympics when you got into climbing? I was like, no freaking way. How would you know that, right?
Yeah.
And then when they announced it was going to be LA, I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like, these are things that were like just lucky.
Yeah.
And so now that it's actually going to be in LA and it's going to be in the Olympics, I was like, oh, I got to stick around and see this. Like I
Yeah.
bought tickets to see the finals because I just cannot believe that my sport's going to be in the Olympics. It's
Do you know where the
incredible.
venue is?
Yeah, it's in Long Beach by the Queen Mary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Then there's probably going to be a big boom in climbing after that.
I hope so. I hope it'll just get more people to get into it.
Do you have main competitors?
Yeah, there's several other competitors like in this area, and we know we're pretty close. Like we're pretty good friends.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's a small industry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's really about also you guys have membership, and it's really kind of that membership kind of builds a community.
hmm
How do you manage this kind of community and create a kind of family like or kind of things that happen in a community?
So one of the things that I think we're really good at, I think as the industry has grown, right? What happens is climbing gyms start to. It's like with any sport, anything. You start to segment,
Mhm.
and you start to have like a core customer. And when you came to LA, you saw that we have this kids area where we do a ton of birthday parties, and that's just kind of part of our brand.
Mm.
So we offer the same things like the memberships and the fitness and the yoga and all that, but we have a very heavy focus on like kids and getting kids into climbing and getting beginners into climbing. And when people ask me like why I did that, well, because when I got into it, I was at that phase where I had 2 kids, and I wanted to take my kids to the gym. And it was like little things like I wanted to change their diaper in the bathroom where it was clean. So like, there's some decisions that were just because I believed in it. And it turns out a lot of people actually feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Right?
that's also one way because there's also tertiary benefits to that. You bring the kids in, and then that means that parents are coming,
Yeah.
and then the parents will eventually sign up. So
Yeah. So one of my favorite things to do is actually to go to the gym on the weekends
Mm.
and watch other families bring their kids to the gym.
Hmm.
And I've watched them grow up. I made friends with this woman this year who she was climbing at like 36 weeks pregnant. She looked amazing.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And then she left for 8 weeks and came back, looked incredible, and then brought her baby to the gym.
Oh.
But now
wow.
I'm gonna like as her kids are growing up, I'm seeing her bring her kids to the gym, and I don't know, those things just make me happy. Yeah, it helps me remember why I did it in the first place.
And climbing now can be used as sort of, I guess, physical activity or workout, not
Yeah.
just a hobby, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Did you ever have you tried it? Like, you guys got to come
I
try
haven't
it.
tried
Some
it.
passes
I've
to
tried it
try
once,
Yeah.
and it was really hard.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
think it's just a different part of your body that
Yeah.
you use. I mean, I am trying to work on my pull-up games, but like, is
Yeah.
those type of works help you do it? And like, I think it's a back muscle.
I couldn't do a pull up for the first 10 years when I
Oh.
was climbing.
Oh.
You don't need to. But what I like about it is it's a way to get fit without like doing reps, like standing there counting how many,
Mm-hmm.
bicep curls I'm doing. And you're solving a problem on the wall. So you're using your mind and your body at the same time. And then time just kind of passes.
Mm.
So, I got into climbing, I told you, during this tough, breakup, right? And I went to the gym and I just met people who taught me how to climb. And we would sit around and we could talk about the climbing instead of talk about, how terrible that you're 25 and, you broke up with this guy and like you're single living in the middle, living in London. Like it just kind of got me out of this mindset.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have you leveraged your experience in climbing walls to like outside?
We do.
The gym?
We take our kids climbing outside every year. My husband climbs a little more outside than I do, just like time. But we do. Like every year we go on like 1 or 2 climbing trips a year outside. Yeah. That's a whole different
Yeah.
thing. Like people shouldn't just go climbing outside
Yeah.
because you need to really know people, hire a guide, figure out,
Looks pretty
what
dangerous,
to do.
too.
Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing outside, you could die. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is indoor climbing has become its own sport.
Mm.
Like the most of our customers don't ever go outside. Like, this is its own sport.
No, I mean, it was just, I think I've been to smaller climbing gyms. I mean, the Center One is just like ginormous, and you look up and it's just like, you feel like you're in like just like, I don't know, how tall is
The one that you went to in LA was 60 feet.
yeah.
60
The ceiling,
feet.
60. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's just really big and it feels empowering on you. And like, you see so many people climbing up and it's very inspiring, actually.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you ever scared of heights?
I mean, when I started, I think I'm getting better at it. Yeah. And that's a natural, like, human thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of people who are starting just refuse to go up because they are scared
Well,
of heights?
you don't go to the top of, the 60 feet wall on your first try. So
Yeah.
you like work your way slowly into it, and we teach you how to do it like slowly.
So I mean, it's still like there's a lot of kind of protective gears, so it is safe. But are there any things that people should be worried about or thinking about while getting into the sport?
Actually, I would say it's like the reverse because I hear this a lot from people who come into the gym, especially parents.
Right.
They come in and their kids are like, kids are like fearless, right? They just get on the wall and climb. And the parents will come in and will say, oh, you know what? My kids can do this, but like I could never do this. And I think that's actually a problem that the climbing gym industry, we're trying to solve together. It has this accessibility problem or this perception that you can't do it. Or, I mean, I had this, like when I walked into the gym the first time, I have this idea that I'm not an athlete, right? Like I can't hit balls, I can't do these things. So when I see these super fit people who are climbing walls, I was like, oh,
It's
look, these
intimidating.
people can do that. But like I could never do it, right? So I think that's something that we need to educate people because I'll guarantee you that on your first day, you can get to the top of one of the walls. Maybe not maybe the highest one, but you will be able to climb something because it's like walking or like swimming. It's an instinct. Like you know how to climb things.
Yeah,
Like I didn't have to teach you how to climb things when you were a baby. You knew how to climb it,
that's right.
right? You
Knew how
just
to
forgot.
fall down too.
Yeah. Right. And also when you're falling, you're on a rope. It's not
Yeah.
like you're going to fall on the ground. And the other thing I think what people don't know about climbing is that you can, especially climbing on ropes, you can do that for a really long time because it's very low impact. So it's not like bouncing. And I trained for triathlons for a couple of years and I hurt my back, so I stopped running. It's like the running is really hard on your back. But climbing is you're hanging when you fall, you're hanging on a rope, right?
Yeah.
So you're not hitting the ground. Like my regular climbing partner is 68 years old, and he got into climbing when he was in his 50s.
Oh wow! So there's still hope for me.
Yeah.
You can. But it's a perception that people have. Yeah.
It is. When you watch movies like Cliffhanger or even Mission Impossible, and you see Tom Cruise hanging on a ledge or whatever, and I always watch that and go, "Wow, if that was me, I'd just probably fall and die because I don't have the skill or the strength to climb up that cliff."
Yeah.
And I go, maybe I should learn how to climb.
But that's why it's also so empowering because when you go into this place and you think you don't think you can do it, and then you do it, you're like, I can do anything, right?
Sounds interesting. I think we should try it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have our next podcast recording.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
climb. We do it while climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be up top, but I'll be still in the bar going, "Hey, hon."
Yeah. It's really not as hard as people think it is. Yeah.
So in our podcast, we always ask our guests, like, what is one of your best choices that you made, whether in life or in career? Is there anything that you want to share?
My best choice. I'm going to say this and I'm going to send this segment to my husband because I try to teach my kids this, right? I think that you can't choose your family, but the only person in your life that you can choose is your spouse. And I think my husband is like the best choice I made in my life. And I think for a very specific reason, because he lets me be who I am. And he loves me the way that I am. And he doesn't try to, as much as like, I know he's really frustrated at me, he doesn't try to, he knows that this is like, he accepts that this is who he married and he doesn't try to make me somebody else. But the opposite is also true because I am constantly like, I'm trying to change him. And I know I'm trying not to, but I have to remind myself that I can't change him, but I want to. Yeah. But that's important. It's important.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I've been molded by my wife to who I am today.
Yeah.
So I met
for
my
sure.
wife when I was 18.
Yeah.
And now it's been, a very, very long time. And I guess I do find myself, like, if I look back, I've changed a lot. And I don't think she's changed a bit. probably very marginally. I think the impact that I had on her is not necessarily her personality or the way she makes decisions. I think it's just different way I impacted her, but I think she's made a huge impact on me too.
I think we're seeing a trend here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it, but I definitely understand that dynamic.
Yeah.
But I guess, any relationship is give and take. So, whether you're forcefully trying to change somebody or not, if you do have a good relationship, like, for example, if my wife told me, said, you can't do that anymore, you have to do it this way, I might just rebuff her.
Mm.
But if I know that she doesn't like the way I do something, or she feels that I should act a different way, then I try to make a concerted effort to do it to some extent, right? And I think that little give and take, without even saying anything, that is a sign of a good relationship too.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's not hard work. It's really hard.
Oh, it's definitely hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to work at everything, right?
Yeah.
Every good relationship takes a lot of hard work.
So how has it been like working with your spouse day in and day out?
Really hard.
Yeah, I mean, like, is
Daily.
there a separation?
Hourly.
Yeah.
Because there isn't really a separation between work and
No.
especially during COVID.
So
right?
we have an executive coach, and he's not our marriage counselor, but he's like an executive coach. But it helps. In some ways, he is, right? But I think that I think there was a lot of our issues that are like core communication issues that it was either going to make or break the marriage, and the business just like accelerated it, right? It's like, how do you talk to your spouse? Like, how do you communicate with somebody? Like, how do you resolve disagreement when you have something about your children or your family? And he really helped with that, which I think is, it's incredible.
Was it stressful for your relationship when the business? Usually, when the business does well, then the relationship is okay. But
It's not true.
Yeah?
It's not true. Actually, when the business was like during COVID, it was a terrible time, right, for our industry. We were probably closer during COVID because we were united and like we saw the same thing, which is like the bank account tipping. So like you have this thing that you can relate to, and you actually unite over like a difficult time. It's actually when things are good, it's challenging because then you have different opinions about where how you should do things.
okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that's the opposite of me.
Really?
So my wife, when I worked together, I said she was my CFO for 10 years while we were in Singapore. And during COVID, and actually not during COVID, but after COVID, when we started running out of cash, that's when things hit a rough patch. And not necessarily for our relationship, but a lot of times we found that the only time we argued or fought was because of the business and the difficulties of the business. Not really personal matters. And then that's when we said, well, maybe it's not a good idea to work together anymore. I mean, we lasted 10 years doing that.
So you worked together for 10 years and not
Yeah,
anymore?
we worked together 10 years. Yeah. Now she went back to her old career. She's working at a company now.
Wow.
But we definitely learned a lot about each other, and we grew stronger together because of all the experiences we had to go through. But it was challenging. It really was. Because like you said, there's no separation. Usually you go off to your office, she goes off to her office, you meet at home, have dinner, and talk for a little while, and then meet on the weekends. But for us, it's 24/7, literally 24/7, all the time. And if you're an entrepreneur and it's your business, there's no turning off at 6 p.m.
You know what's funny though, because this is like goes to our personality that are different. Is like I think about work all the time. Like I'm thinking about it in the shower.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. I don't know how to turn it off. I'll literally be like in a yoga class and I'll just be thinking about this problem, and then when I'm done, I'll have figured it out. And my husband would judge me. He was like, "You're not supposed to be thinking in the yoga class," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, but that's just what I do."
Yeah.
He is actually better at turning his brain off. Like when he's on, he's on. Maybe lawyers do that. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. Just like the way he thinks about the world is just more, he compartmentalizes. Like when he goes climbing, he's like on the wall, like not thinking about anything. Or actually, like I've tried really hard to learn how to meditate, and it's hard for me. For him, it's like he just is able to get into it.
That must be a lawyer thing.
Yeah.
You think so?
It has to be.
Well, yeah. I think you sometimes need to think in the best interest of the client. Right? So I guess you are trying to think inside of someone else's shoe more often. Maybe that is something to do with it.
Because I couldn't turn it off either. 2:00 in the morning, I'd think of something, I'd wake up and, have to write it down.
But sometimes, those are the times that I solve my problems.
Yeah.
So another question that we ask is,
Yeah.
what is one of your worst choices that you made? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Don't say your
So-
husband.
So after the really tough breakup, I did some things to my body and myself that I wish, I think what I would say is like, I wish I was kinder to myself, or I was like drunk from Thursday to Tuesday every weekend, and I was just really lost for a long time. And I don't know that I would change it, but I think I wish it wasn't as long. Like I wish I didn't waste as much time, in bed or like on the ground, and I would have gotten up sooner. But then part of it, that's how life works, right? Yeah.
Maybe you would have never gone to the climbing gym then.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
If I got out
So
sooner.
it all worked out.
It was a very, very dark time in my
Did you
life.
move
Yeah.
to London because of that breakup?
Yeah, I wanted to get out of
Mhm.
Hong Kong.
Okay. But even with the move, you were still in a pretty dark place in London for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to this. Like, I know a lot of people go through tough times, and I've definitely been through depression. I don't actually, I don't know if I want to label it, but all I can tell you was I remember days like I didn't like leave the couch.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't leave the house for days,
Mm.
or I would cry for like hours. You know,
Well, that's
Yeah.
depression. If it affects
Yeah.
your functioning, then
Yeah.
that's definitely depression.
I didn't take a picture of myself for months. Didn't like talk to anybody. Yeah, I wish it was shorter, but what can I do?
Yeah. But, that brought you to where you are today. So,
Which is why I think I'm so attached to climbing, because when I climb, like even now, it reminds me of a thing that saved my life and made me happy, or I associate it with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting story as well. I think for me, finding something that helped me out of a difficult situation and associating that and being reminded of that do you climb almost every other day?
I like 2 days a week right now.
Yeah. Okay. But still, like if that kind of helps you remind it, it is kind of a struggle.
yours is
going on.
music, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, it's just music. I mean, to me, it's like been an escape for me, and it's always takes me to another place and gives me kind of that good feeling that I need when I'm down or we're having a difficult time. So, thank you so much for today to coming out and
Thank you.
sharing
This
your
was
stories.
really fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for
appreciate it,
inviting
and
me.
thank you for the matcha. Yeah, cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.